Okay, I had a few people who were interested in production breakdown of the newest song. If you want to, go stream it on Spotify, baby. Okay, so here's the session right here. We're just going to jump right into it. So here is the start. This particular song, I did something I've never done, and I'm not really sure why I did it. Both of our main vocals, we had 4 tracks of the main melody. So the first 2 are panned straight up the middle, and then the second 2 are panned hard left, hard right, as you can see. What if we built a house by the trees, planted a garden, and filled it with dreams? So it just starts out really wide, and I don't know, I kind of liked it. Kind of like it a lot. So then after that, have some harmonies come in. I'll leave the light on. I had some like shaper box panning, auto panning effect going on that harmony, and then I think it happens here as well. I'll leave the light on. You can hear it kind of start panning left and right quietly. I'll leave the light on. Okay, so those are my vocals. So let's go to Ben's vocals. Here we go. What if we haunted the same town for days? So again, there's 4 tracks of his vocals doing just the one melody, 2 up the middle, 2 panned hard and right and left. I'll leave the light on. So yeah, as you can see, basically mirrors mine, but then he has a whole nother section of harmonies. All of these guys are his harmonies. Let's dim the lights in this room, sway with the shadows and dance with the moon. So yeah, so let's get to the guitars, baby. So Ben came over to here, my studio, and we tracked the guitars. If I'm honest, I don't know how he played it. I think we played it differently, and by playing it differently, I mean we used different tunings or chord shapes. So I'm actually not sure how he played it, but I really like the way that he played it. So he started out with these guitars. So it's 2 guitars. We recorded 2 passes. One I panned, as you can see, a little to the left, the other one to the right a little bit. And if I remember, I think he basically just did like a one take. Like each of these were just like one take. We might have punched in a couple of times at different spots, but he basically just nailed it. He's really, really good at the guitar. So this is the left guitar. Here's the right guitar. Here's both of them. And these are tracked on his guitar. I want to say it was a type of rubber bridge guitar. Yeah. And then this is all my processing. I'll show you just what I did, I guess. A tiny bump, 6,000, taking it all back out. So why did I even bump it? Is there even any compression happening? just the smallest amount of compression. Okay, so it's doing something, taking out a tiny bit of transients, or softening a bit of those transients. This is compander saturation. This is a really cool trick. I actually can't even, I have to watch the video every time I want to do this trick, but basically what this trick does is it gives saturation. So when you put a saturator on any track, you lose some dynamics. It has a compression effect, I believe. And what this trick does, the way that this compander saturation trick works, is it will bring back all of your dynamics. So it'll put saturation on your track while preserving the dynamics of your track. And I thought that was really cool, and I really love the sound of it, and I plan to do it more. I think I did it on a few tracks here. But yeah, it's weird to set up, and I have to watch the video every time because I always forget. But yeah, so that is saturation. And then what else did I do here? Then I boosted again. So all of my EQ moves were just kind of dumb. I kind of just like mix as I go, and I don't want to like go back and change something to make it drastically different. So I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. Okay, so those are Ben's guitars we recorded here. And just FYI, most of this stuff was recorded on my Austrian Audio OC818, I believe is the mic. It's a really, really good mic. I love it. It's kind of a great all-rounder. Okay, and then this guitar I added in for a layer. This is my rubber bridge guitar. It's a Martin guitar with nylon strings that are made for like a regular type guitar. And then I also have like a piece of vinyl sitting on the bridge. And I layered these in as just kind of support. So Ben's guitars are like plucking, whereas these are chords that are like strummed. So you can, yeah. Let me play it with Ben's. I'll take them out. So these are Ben's. Now mine are back in. So, and all I did for these ones is just a bit of EQ. Oh, I do have, this is automated EQ that comes in, I think. Let's see. Wait a sec. Oh. It was bypassed, so I don't even know if that made it into I don't know if that made it into the final mix or master. Anyways, the idea behind this automated EQ. In the beginning, there's not much else going on in the production. And then I think once Ben comes in this blue verse right here, the drums and the bass kick in, and so I wanted to take out a bit of the muddiness. So you'll see this EQ is gonna increase right about here. Yep. So taking out a bit of the lows, boosting a tiny bit of the highs, make it a tiny bit thinner because you have the bass and other things going now that are gonna fill in. So that's what that was supposed to do. Whether that made it into the final mix or master, I don't know. And then also these chugs, I actually don't know if these made it into the final master as well, because when I came back to check it, I had these muted, and I don't remember if I had them unmuted or not when I was messing with things and bouncing, and it gets crazy in here. But these are the chugs. Same guitar, I just added in another layer of these guitars doing just some chugs to kind of give it a tad bit more movement, but whether or not it was there, I don't know. Taking out, 5 or 6 dB. So pulled super far back, so even if they were there, I don't know. Who knows if they made it. Okay, so then these are some guitars that we recorded with Ben when he was here. He brought his high strung guitar. I did a bunch of processing on it over here. Kind of made it a radio sound. Let's see what it sounds like with everything off. Super pretty. Let's see what these other ones are. I can't remember if they're the same. I think it's the same high strung guitar, but he just played it in a lower tuning. They were super pretty. And I guess my reasoning for making them, I think they were just too distracting in the beginning. And so I kind of just turned them into this almost sort of pad type thing. Really reverbed. Cut out all the low end. So they're just underneath, giving just more of a pad sound. Really pretty guitar pad. The house by the tree. Again, you can't really hear them. They're back in the mix, so one could argue that maybe you didn't need them, but every little bit helps. Even if you can't really hear it, you can kind of feel it. So, okay, now next is the banjo. Banjo comes in. Again, most of this is just double tracked, so 2 takes, panned hard left and right, as you can see. Okay, so that's a banjo. I do have another banjo coming in because I don't think I recorded, I don't know, maybe I just didn't record it well enough and wanted to do a second thing. So here's another banjo. It's also EQ'd a tiny bit differently. There's a little bit more low end in this one. So that's the banjo. Okay, let's just hear what everything sounds like so far. All of the acoustic wait a second, why did I do that? All of the acoustic instruments. Let's see what that sounds like. This so there you have it. Woohoo. Okay, the guitar, electric guitar, the solo. Okay, so the story behind this. So Ben sent me this solo and I really loved it. I just wanted to add a tiny bit more saturation or grit, I guess. So I tried to recreate it. I really loved the tone that he had. I just wanted a tad bit more of that grit. And I asked him for like what he used for the settings and everything. And anyways, I tried to recreate it. Let me pull up. What I ended up using, I believe, was the Tone King Neural DSP Tone King, I believe. And look at that. The preset is still right there if you want to. And this is the preset, I guess, that I made. I played it on my Epiphone Sheraton 2 guitar. I tried playing it on my Telecaster, but I didn't really like the tone, and then I realized I still had I have this Epiphone Sheraton 2 that I never use. So I was like, why not? My Epiphone has the humbucker pickups, which are a little more warm and jazzy, and that's what this solo needed. Anyways, so this first part of the solo, leading up to the solo, was from Ben's guitar. I really liked. And then enters in my little right here. So I was playing it differently. I couldn't remember how Ben played it. Ben came back over, I think, when we were tracking his harmonies, and he was like, let's change this one part on the guitar solo. And I was like, yeah, let's do it, because I liked how he had done it. So he actually played this little part here. I think we punched it in. Let me zoom in. And then I think this is what I had recorded before, or maybe he did this too. I just wanted this separate part because it felt good for the production. So then there's this little walk down. And it kind of leads into the strings coming in. Goodness gracious. Oh, wait, and then later on, this is something else that Ben did, and I really liked it. So this was the tone of his original guitar, I believe. Super great tone. I loved it. Okay, moving on. So Ben sent these pianos. He did this piano part. And I added in the mix, I added in just a touch of warble and vinyl and crackle and grit at the suggestion of Ben, which was the perfect suggestion. I believe I used RC20. You can hear it kind of like warble the pitch a little bit. Let me pull up. What did I use? Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Turn it off. But yeah, this is the plugin that I used, RC20. I added just a tad bit of vinyl, a little bit of flutter, probably some magnetic, I don't know, on that part. And then I had to recreate a different piano part, I think, here to go with this final verse. So this was also Ben, but then I took it and tweaked it a little bit just for this final verse. That walk up, I had to add that in because like we did this last minute change where I was like, oh, I just really want this walk up to happen. So I had to go in and change like all the bass and the drums and stuff to add in this little walk up. So that was probably the very last thing that happened before we released the song. That was the last change that had to happen. We had everything done. We just added in this little walk up. So yeah, that's the piano. Okay, moving on. We have the pads. So to start out, I think I had this. I had this mandolin. You can't tell it's a mandolin. It's this plugin. Let me pull up. Let me just show you. It's a Contact. Where is it? It's a Contact plugin patch called Mandolin Swarm. I think it's from Spitfire. It's either Spitfire or Native Instruments. I can't remember. Yeah, it's here. It was, I think I had to import it weird so it doesn't show up normally, but all the patches are there. Anyways, so what ended up happening was I low passed it. Yeah, and it's just like a tremolo. Like the mandolin thing is doing this. And then it's just reverbed out and low passed. And then Ben sent me these guitar swells. So yeah, then we have the bass. Ben did the bass. He sent me this. I really love that line on the bass that he does. And then for mixing purposes, I think I added in just this. I duplicated the bass and then I high passed it and put like probably some saturation on it to just give it a little bit more of a mid presence, mid boost, so it could be heard a little better. Okay, here are the drums, baby. Okay, here's what I use. I use Easy Drummer 3. I have it laid out and it's a multi-channel thing. So basically I can, without having to bounce everything out, I can just have everything assigned to its own MIDI channel. So you can see things are going. Not all these channels are active. I probably could delete some, but here's the actual MIDI. So I played it on, I have an electronic drum kit behind me. I played it on that, and then I came into the MIDI here and refined it. I tweaked a bunch of the velocities and on the hi-hats and whatever, and then probably edited a bunch of the fills because I'm not a drummer. But yeah. Okay, so that's that. Let me go in, I'll show you the drums themselves. So this is the singer-songwriter extension pack from Easy Drummer, and then it looks like I used the small pop kit. And the only thing I changed, I believe, were the toms. I took the toms from Easy Drummer's stock tight room toms, you can change those out, because the other ones just didn't sound, it was like really clashing. So those were the drums. I did a bunch of processing on the kick. If you listen here, let me solo the kick, and I'll turn off all of the plugins here. Now let me turn them on. So yeah, gave it a little more punch there. A little more oomph on that kick. On the snare, I added a little bit of EQ or saturation. And then another underrated plugin that I think everybody should use if it'll open. Sometimes it glitches and it won't open. It's called Snare Buzz, and it's from Waves Factory, I believe. Okay, here we go. It just adds, if your snare is lacking a little bit of those like beads that are underneath the snare, it gives a little more buzz, right? Just gives a tiny bit more sizzle on the high end. Turn it off. Turn it on. Just gives it a little more top end, a little more sizzle, a little more crispiness. But that's super good if you have a snare that's not cutting it for you. Okay, so those are the drums, more or less. Let's get to the strings, baby. Okay, so let's talk about it. How the strings happened. Looks like I still have my original MIDI strings here. I'm gonna collapse these down real quick. Down here were my original MIDI strings. Let me turn these on. When we started out, I just had these simple string chords, and then I threw it over to Ben, and then Ben added in some more movement, and then he threw it back to me, and then I added even more movement. And so I did the final string arrangement. So you can hear it sounds like fake strings, but we had it pretty much all there, and then came and wrote out the score and everything, and then we sent it off to our strings players. For the cello, we got the cello back first. These were sent to, his name is Paul Woodward. He did an amazing job. I'm curious to know what his setup was and like what kind of microphone he used and everything, because I just have no idea. But I mean, they sounded great. So he sent me, each of these are different parts. So he sent me 4 takes of each part, and I ended up just using them all because I wanted it to sound full. And so I guess the way I panned them is somewhat left and right, and then hard left and right. And these are also going through a room reverb as well. So I'll take the reverb off and show you what that sounds like. But let me talk about the violins also. So these, we hired a girl named Madeline Riding, super, super talented. She came over to my studio, and we actually used, so I tried out 3 different mics, ended up choosing one of them, which I was a little bit surprised of, but looking back, it makes a lot of sense. So we actually ended up using this mic, the SM7B. I've found that my room is just not great for string recordings. It's very small. So I used this mic. I used my Austrian Audio OC818. And then I also have a Cloud 44A ribbon mic. And I really thought I was going to like the ribbon mic because it has more of a darker tone to it. but it ended up just capturing the room way too much, and you could hear like the dead reflection in the room, and it just didn't sound great. And so what I've discovered is I think that dynamic microphones are probably your best bet when you don't have a good string space for recording in, because it's just going to capture the source, and then you can go in post-production and add in some room reverb profiles to the strings. That will sound a lot more professional. So just a little tip if you don't have access to a multi-$1,000 string studio, right? So, okay, so Madeline came over, she recorded the strings, super awesome, she just nailed it. Here's her violin part first. Okay. Let me show you how much of a difference the reverb makes. If I can find where I put it. I think it's up on my orchestra bus here. Okay, yeah, so I have it being sent to this Cinematic Rooms reverb. And let me go back here. Now let me turn it off. It's a lot super dry now. You can hear that reverb tail. And the preset I used was this Hall's Legato. I really liked it. So there you go. I think that's gonna do it. Here's everything. Let's stand alive in this room, sway with the shadows and dance with the moon. I'll be there. And there you go. I hope that was interesting to you guys. Hope this was helpful for any of you guys if you are a producer yourself. And if you have any questions about the production or the mix or whatever, leave them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. As always, thank you for listening. I super appreciate it. This has been a fun one to work on, and it seems like you guys really liked it. I really liked this one as well. Super proud of it. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.